What is going on, Internet? Another video coming at you from Redskins Rant. Hail to the Redskins. The Redskins just, I wouldn't say got their butts kicked, but they lost to the Baltimore Ravens. It was a battle of the Beltway. So, before I dive into this, please hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter. I also have a Instagram now. It's James_Plank_88. Yeah, so let's dive into this. So the Washington Redskins lost 31-17 against the Baltimore Ravens. A lot of things about this game that I'm irritated with. I had a Twitter feud last night with someone that was having a different opinion. I'm going to make something very clear. Okay? If anyone watches that game and thinks that Dwayne Haskins is the issue, you're part of the problem with our fan base. Dwayne Haskins did nothing wrong in that game. I actually think he played pretty well. He had a decent completion percentage. He had over 300 yards passing. He didn't have any touchdowns, but there's reasons for that. He did have a rushing touchdown. He didn't have any turnovers, though, so he didn't cost us the game. And he did. I think he moved the ball fairly well throughout the game, given that Baltimore is a little bit better team than us. I mean, I think that's a news flash for everyone. But this is the NFL, and I think Washington has a chance to win every game as long as their scheme is executed properly. Now, the problem with having younger teams like we have with a new coach is you don't actually have time to actually execute your schemes properly. You don't have time to do that. That's the kind of the problem right now, is you don't have time to actually prepare your team, that when you put a game plan in place that they can actually follow it to the letter. That's kind of the problem we're having right now. And we're just not able to execute a game plan. So, for example, the game plan yesterday was to contain Lamar Jackson, force him to be a passer, not a runner. And, I think for the most part, Washington defense did that. The problem is the Washington defense is just not that good. I'm making that proclamation. Our defense is not as good as it's advertised. Okay? I'm going to give an example of reasons why. Our defense has given up 30 points in 3 games. The last 3 games that we have lost, our defense has given up 30-plus points. Against Arizona, they gave up 30. And against last week against the Cleveland Browns, which apparently Cleveland Browns can put up more points than 30. So maybe holding the 30 was a blessing. And then the last part is yesterday we gave up 31 points. So we're not, our defense is not as good as we thought it was. Everyone's talking like our defense is a top 10, top 5. I was saying it should be, but as of right now, it's nowhere close. There's defensive line does okay, and that's probably the best squad we have when it comes to overall talent. Talent levels high, but our secondary is not very good. It's a bend don't break kind of secondary, but it gets broken a lot. And our linebacking core, I don't think is very, very great. I don't think it's as good as it could be. But our defense isn't what it's supposed to be. I'll give you some examples of why of how our defense is not as good as it could be. So first example is we've given up 30 points in the last 3 games, and the other example, and this is what I was getting at last week, is our defense doesn't seem to have composure. Whenever stuff goes south, our defense just throws gas in on the fire. Okay, I actually heard a great quote that whenever the offense gives up a turnover or whatever, the defense's job is to go in and put out the fire. And our defense is the exact opposite. I'm going to give you an example. We played the Arizona Cardinals week 2. We muff a punt. They recover. Arizona scores in 2 plays. Okay? Now, overall in that game, we just couldn't contain Kyler Murray, so that was a constant thing. But we seemed to have defensive control of that game prior to that moment. We got a pick early before that. We were able to contain Kyler. We got a sack on him already. So we were able to contain Kyler Murray up to that point. But then it just seems like that happened and the wheels just fell off. So that's the first game where just this trend started. Last week, Haskins turned the ball over 3 times. Okay? Now, you can sit there and say you can blame Haskins if you want. I do blame Haskins for the turnovers. I don't blame him for all the points. Okay? It's defense's job to still stop the offense from scoring. It's not up to the quarterback doesn't all, fall on the quarterback. All those points aren't exactly the quarterback's fault. The defense still has to go out and play defense. Okay, and this stuff happened in the first and second quarter, and so you can't claim the defense was tired. If the defense was tired, you can maybe make that excuse. Defense wasn't tired, so it's poor execution. It's not very good. It's poor composure, and they're basically just not being disciplined. They're not being taught to be disciplined as a defense. They are not being taught to be defense or disciplined at all. Okay, then they have zero composure. Okay, last week turnover happened. What happens? 3 times interceptions led to a touchdown within 4 plays. 4 plays. Okay, 4 plays. It wasn't like they grinded out 6 minutes or whatever, and they pound the ball in the end zone. They got a play. They got bang, 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 touchdown. Less than 4 plays, and they got a touchdown. And then the 4th one was the fumble by Haskins, and they got a field goal out of it. They probably could have scored fast if they wanted to, but they wanted to milk the clock. So that happened. 4 turnovers led to 24 points. Okay? Now, let's just hypothetically here, if in that game, if we'd have had our quarterback or our defense hold the Browns to all field goals rather than all touchdowns, the complexion of that game changes. What did we lose the Browns game by? 34 to what? 20? 34-20. So you pull back all those touchdowns and make them field goals. That's knocking away 12 points. They had 21 points off of turnovers that led to touchdowns. If they're all field goals instead, that's 9 points. That's 12 points difference. Now you put that on the scoreboard. We're losing the game by 22 to 20. And then at the end of the game, when we don't use our timeouts, we would use our timeouts. All we need is a field goal to win. See, that it changes the complexion of the game a little bit. So what a lot of people aren't understanding is the defense still has to do their job. It doesn't matter if the offense turns the ball over 20 times. Defense's job is still go out there and not give up touchdowns, holding the field goals. And we're not doing a very good job of that. We're not doing a great job in the red zone. We're not doing a great job of giving up those big plays. Mobile quarterbacks are murdering us. Kyler Murray hasn't done shit since he played us. Hasn't done anything since he played us. He lost to Detroit, and then yesterday, him and one other team cost me a full sweep of pick'ems. And what I mean by pick'ems is, I'll get this in 2 seconds. I actually do another YouTube channel, another video, or whatever, where I actually go through and pick who wins every game. I had a clean sweep this week, except for 2 things. The Arizona Cardinals didn't show up this week, and didn't show up last week either, and it cost me last week. And the Eagles lucked out and beat the 49ers. So without those 2, I'd have a clean fucking sweep this week. And I have every game picked to the letter of who's going to win. So in summary, the defense's job is to, put out the flame, so to speak, not let it get any worse than what it is. If there's a turnover, keep them from getting in the end zone. Okay? I stopped my car and did something, so I'm reiterating what I said. That's why I'm repeating myself. If you didn't notice that, there was a pause there. So that happened against the Browns 4 times. And our defense, the one time it didn't break, it actually held them to a field goal, which if we'd have done field goals in the rest of the game, it probably would have turned out a little bit better. And then Ron would actually probably use his timeouts because we'd be in the game closer. We'd be closer in the game. So, and then this game, we really didn't have that many opportunities for this to happen, but it was some stupid thing, and they end up with a touchdown. So J.D. McKissic catch the ball on an out pass or whatever, and he gets stripped, and literally 2 plays later, they got a 50-yard bomb. We're at the 1-inch line, and then they punch it in with Mark Ingram. So that happened. The 50 yards, the turnover, yeah, that's the offense's fault. 50 yards, is that the offense's fault? No, that's the defense's fault. Defense does not respond well to adversity like that. When they're put in a situation like that, they just don't respond well. Short fields don't respond well. Plain and simple. And then we had a play where we had a fake punt where, I'm just being honest. We got a fake punt. And just being honest, 100% honest with you, I saw a fake punt coming a mile away. I think other people did. I'm literally saying to my wife, this is going to be a fake punt. and they fake it, and they convert. And then the very next, like 2 plays later, you have Lamar Jackson with a 50-yard run for a touchdown. And in that play with a 50-yard run for a touchdown, if you follow my Twitter, I literally look at it and go, look at my wife and go, that's 4 wide receivers. They're going to run the ball to the right with Lamar. And he takes off and gets a 50-yard freaking touchdown run. So guess what? If you hold them to the field goal on the one play and you don't let them convert the 4th down, the game's completely, that's a 10-point swing in this game. A 10-point swing in this game where we're actually having a chance to win this game. Just being honest, we have a chance to actually win the game. I don't think they actually dominated us. I think they actually gave us a chance. If you want to look at it in just in a normal nutshell in itself, I think they actually gave us a chance to win this game. And if we'd have just done things a little bit better, we'd have won. We had a missed field goal. That was part of it. Missed field goal. I think that's another one. On the missed field goal, defense comes out, and that was when Lamar had the 50-yard touchdown run on, because it was like 3rd and 9. And that's when it was. And then they actually scored on it was a touchdown pass to their tight end to make it 21-0 in the first half after the fake field goal. And I'm going to just say this. I am really getting irritated and sick and fucking tired of watching our games and seeing penalties called on us and not getting called on other people. On that touchdown pass to, I think it was Andrews. I think that's the tight end's name is Andrews. Andrews clearly has an extension on John Bostic, the guy who's covering him, who's running with him in coverage, and gets a yard, the distance he needs to actually catch the touchdown pass. Not called, but for some fucking reason, we get that called last week against us. Terry McLaurin gets an offensive pass interference called on him last week, and it was way less egregious than that one. I'm really getting tired of saying. I'm getting tired of also saying. I'm doing something real quick. No, I can't get it right. Okay. I'm getting tired of also seeing the fact that people leave with their helmets on us a lot and never get called for it. And the second we do it, we get called for it the very second we do it. It really freaking irritates me. It really does irritate me. That, calls can go both ways. And I understand that, they're very subjective and sometimes it's just not in a good angle. I get that. But why? It just seems like we always get called for bullshit, and then the bullshit never gets called back. Last week, Dontrell Inman got a touchdown. He caught the ball, and then someone came in, led with a helmet, nailed him. He gets up and taunts and flexes in front of the guy who helmet to helmet hit him, and he gets a penalty, not the guy who led with his helmet. Doesn't make any effing sense to me. It really just pisses me the hell off. That I just feel like our team doesn't always get a fair shake. Okay? I don't really think it really dictates the outcome of the game, per se. I think last week you can say it might have, and here's why I can say it might have. Because, like I said, we have a trend where if we have a big play, last week at least, our quarterback will push the issue, turn the ball over, and then the defense will let them score in like 3 or 4 plays. Okay, that literally happened. If it wasn't for that pass interference, that's a 10-yard gain, and we're moving the sticks, and our quarterback doesn't feel like he has to press the issue. So that does dictate long-term in the game if you think about it. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember at that point how far down. I think we were down like a touchdown. But it does have an impact on the game. And to sum up my soliloquy about the defense, everyone thinks is like infallible. I had an argument with the guy who thought the defense was infallible, and defense is like, well, defense is really good. I'm like, no, defense is not very good. He's like, well, the Ravens are so great. Like, they're not that great. I'm sorry, they're not. They're not that great. If you look at the numbers, like, they have a 50-yard run from their quarterback, and the rest of their team, they didn't run as great as it wasn't. I never watched that game and thought that they're just running all over us. I never watched the game at all and thought that. Maybe you did. That's your prerogative. That's what you think. But I never watched the game and thought, like, this team is running all over us. I thought the team was. I actually thought our defense for a while was holding them up, but they still gave up 31 points in this game. And then the argument I was having with the guy online, he was trying to say that you're having unreal expectations. And so he's trying to say that the offense was the problem. And I'm like, the offense is not the solution at all, but they're definitely not the problem, and they're not 100% the problem. I'm not saying that the offense is infallible either. I'm just saying that the offense has less talent all around, and I think they're trying to do the best they can with what they have to work with. I think defense has first rounders all over the place, good players everywhere. We have a $20 million or whatever $1 million safety that's playing like shit. We have Kendall Fuller, Kendall Fuller had 2 interceptions, so I'm gonna give him some credit. He gets a game ball to me. He gets a game ball. He played great. We have decent linebackers across the board. We have decent defensive line, and we're still giving up 30 points a game. I don't think so. I think too much money's been invested in that defense, and too much draft picks have been invested in that defense for the defense to be playing this shitty. And this guy was trying to argue with me, trying to say that this offense is just so good. I'm like, no, it's not. Kansas City does not have a great defense, and they held this team to 20 points last week. So in one half of football, not even a full half, they get 21 points compared to compared to last week. They got 20 altogether. It's drastically different. It's not. I mean, Kansas City's not a crappy defense, but they don't have as many first rounders invested, not much money invested in their defense as we have in ours. Plain and simple. Granted, they do have a better offense, so the offense probably saves them a little bit, but it doesn't matter. We gave 21 points in the first half. You can't tell us we're gassed at that point. Okay? And he's trying to say, this is how the conversation went. It was a very back and forth conversation, which he had no logic. Every time he made a point, I countered it, and he never said, oh, okay, we got a point there. Never did. He's probably going to watch this video. If he does, not trying to call you, I'm not calling you out by name, so don't worry. But you didn't look at any of the points, and you didn't look at any of the statistics. You looked at statistics when they mattered to you. Point being, defense giving up 30 points a game, and you're saying, well, the defense giving up 30 points a game. I said last week the Kansas City Chiefs held them to 20 points. I have that same expectation. We should hold them to 20 something because our offense is not very good. Our offense has 2 good players on it right now. 2. And that's the only thing I've seen so far is 2. Dante Whitman actually doesn't look bad, but I'm not putting him up there with the good players. I think he had a good game. There's a difference. I think Antonio Gibson is a good offensive player. He's a really good running back. I actually think the more he touches the ball, the more yards he'll get. He needs to touch the ball 20 plus times a game. 20 to 25 would be my sweet spot. He only touched the ball 17 times yesterday. He had like 140 yards rushing or something like that. 140 yards total or 120 yards, something like that. He's the real deal. He's legit. And then the other player is Terry McLaurin. Those are the only 2 players that I feel comfortable saying they are legitimate on our offense. Haskins, I think Haskins is getting there. I think he's learning, and then I can get to Haskins here in a little bit. But my point was, and with this guy, he said, well, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year. I'm like, okay, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. The defense, they had one game they had to come back down from 24-3, and ended up having to put 51 points on, I think it was the Texans? They had to put 51 points on the Texans to win that game. And then they were down again and gave up 31 points to the Titans and had to put up 38 points to win that game. And then the Super Bowl, they had to put up another 31 points to win the game. And you got to factor in, and then he's trying to say, like, well, they held the 49ers to whatever points. I'm like, 49ers, I know they had like a lot of yards last year, but they're not a great offense. No one looks at the 49ers last year and said, oh, that offense was great. Jimmy G was not a good quarterback. They had a solid running game. I'll give them that. But they did not have a great offense last year. They did not have a juggernaut offense. They had a really good defense. A lot of turnovers. Didn't give up that many yards. And they were good. The 49ers were a good team, don't get me wrong, but the defense for the 49ers, for the Giants, it wasn't top in anything. And the guy kept arguing with me, and then finally I had to throw out statistics. I'm like, dude, the Chiefs, the 49ers offense is great. Now Jimmy G won a playoff game. He threw 8 times, and he only completed 6 of them. And then the game before that, he only threw 19 times and only completed 11. You're trying to tell me that a team is winning games because of their juggernaut offense. The quarterback's only thrown the ball 8 times. That's not realistic. And then he's trying to say that he cares about winning. I'm like, okay, I care about winning too. That's why I care about the fact that our defense is giving up 30 points a game because our offense can't score 30 points a game. Okay, the first game we did, but that's because our defense had 8 sacks, forced 3 turnovers. Okay, there's a reason why we won that game. We didn't win that game for no reason. We won that game because our defense put up a lot of turnovers. Okay, so when our defense doesn't put up turnovers and they get 30 points a game, it puts our offense in a much more difficult spot. Why? We've invested first rounder after first rounder after first round in the defense. We haven't done that for the offense. So to sit there and have the expectations that the offense should be able to score all these points and our quarterback should be able to do all these points when we've invested nothing of significance into the offense is ridiculous. I'm going to talk about the offense now. I thought Terry McLaurin did very well in this game. Okay, I don't think he did bad last week in some ways, but he was still reading the defense. He was still making throws. He was trying to push the issue. I think he kind of countered that this week by being a little safer. But also, I think Terry McLaurin did a great job. The goal should be this is what the goal should be. You need to focus on getting Gibson the ball, either by handing the ball to him or getting the ball to him on the edge somehow in a pass. He's too explosive offensively to not make that your number one goal and your number one. I'm gonna get a quick drink while we're on that light real quick. Because no one else on this offense right now is showing to have any signs of life. What's going on with Steven Sims? Steven Sims did great last year. He was always in the works for things. What has gone on with him? I don't know if he didn't play yesterday. I don't think he didn't play yesterday, to be honest. But I haven't seen anything of him in the first 3 games. Okay. I think Isaiah Wright is not bad. I think Isaiah Wright needs to be used in different spots. I think there's a lot of different things that Scott Turner is doing to move the ball around. He's trying to get Haskins in a rhythm. I think he did a good job of that today. I think we do more things like that. So in my mind, we've had our 4 preseason games. We have a better idea of what we are offensively. I know what we are offensively is, I think Gibson needs 15 rushes a game. I think that one of the recipe for success to get him 15 rushes a game, he needs to get about 25 touches a game. So he needs to get the ball 15 times running the ball and another 10 times in passes. He needs 25 total touches, not just targets. Okay? He needs to get the ball 25 times. Terry McLaurin needs to get at least 10 catches a game. I think that's a recipe for success for our offense. Eventually, teams are going to start catering to that, and it's going to open up other people. But I'm going to say it again. I don't think guys are getting open, and I also don't think guys are catching balls. I know a couple times threw the ball to Logan Thomas, and Logan Thomas just doesn't catch the ball, man. And he's not getting space between him and the defender. This was a pretty good defense. The secondary for Baltimore is pretty good, and they did a good job of bending, not breaking, because they gave McLaurin a lot of yards. They gave Gibson a lot of yards. They just, also didn't give up a touchdown or that many touchdowns. I think we need to do a better job of just getting these guys the ball, and we need to get other people involved as well. Haskins does a really good job of finding McLaurin, and he's doing a better job of finding Gibson, but we need to get other people involved. I mean, Steven Sims was supposed to be something like a number 2 receiver or speedy guy, and he is not involved very much. I think Isaiah Wright looks pretty good. I'll give him that. Isaiah Wright looks really good. I like him, but I want to see Gandy Golden a little bit more. I want to see. I don't know. I don't want to see Dontrell Inman anymore. I really don't, because I don't. He's not the future of the team. He's not. It just doesn't make sense to me to keep playing a guy who, after this season, is not going to be on the team, when we're going to be focusing on Antonio Gandy Golden. Now, if everyone's injured, that's your only choice, fine, so be it. But I think there's other ways you can. Cam Sims, haven't seen him yet, so there's tons of different things that we could do, or we got things we can do that actually I think could help us a lot offensively. But I don't think the offense was too bad this game. I thought they moved the ball pretty well. If we don't have a clanker off the upright, Washington puts up 20 points on a pretty good defense. And I think we gave ourselves a chance, because we could have scored. We could have scored on. Here's where we could have had some changes that could have made the game a little bit different. So let's say we don't miss that field goal, and instead of hitting the upright, we make the field goal. Now we scored 20 points. And instead of going for it on 4th and 9 on the 9 or 4th and goal on like the 9 or 10 yard line or whatever it is, we go and we actually just take the field goal. Okay, now we scored 23 points on a team that was supposed to blow us out of the water, and now we only lose by 8. And like I said, if we hold a team to a field goal rather than a touchdown, like one of those times, take away 4 points, it's a game. It's a game. We get the ball back. We have an opportunity late in the game where we can actually go and win the damn thing. But I don't know. I don't understand. I think our offense is doing okay enough, but our defense has to do a little better. Our defense has to hold teams like 21 to 24 points to give our offense a chance. The one time we did it this season, that's a small sample size. The one time we held a team to less than 21 points, we won. We won 17-31. If you look at the game stats this game, we had good stats across the board. We had good passing stats. I think Haskins had like 300 plus yards. First 300-yard game. We won the time of possession. I think our third down conversion wasn't very good. But I think the offense did a lot of good things. I really do. I think the offense did a lot of good things that we can kind of build on going forward. And I think that's what we need to do every week, do some good things to build on going forward. But I have to question wholeheartedly some of the moves by our coaching staff. Okay, kicking that field goal that clanked off the upright. He could have made it, and we have 3 points. However, we have the best kicker in the league, best punter. We could have pinned him inside the 20-yard line, down the 10-yard line probably, and not given Baltimore a short field, and that led to a touchdown. The kicking that or going for that field goal late. I'd rather just go for on fourth down and try to convert. I'd rather just do that. I'd rather do that than take a 50-yard field goal that doesn't have a chance. Go to convert it. This is what I say, and I say this is where I wouldn't blame Haskins for the interception. I know he'll get credited for it. Go for it, and go deep. Okay. Worst case scenario, it's intercepted. Okay, it's intercepted, but it's intercepted 20 yards down the field. It's like a punt. Okay, and they're probably gonna ask us, "Oh, you threw an interception?" No, I wouldn't. I'd be a good coach and be like, you know what? Take a shot deep. Let's take a shot deep and see what happens. We have an under route that's there, but if you think it's open, take a shot deep. Give McLaurin a chance to go up and get it. Give whoever else a chance to go up and get it. I'd rather do that than go for a field goal that he's not Hopkins does not have a good percentage from that distance. He just doesn't. If you're looking at the analytics say you don't kick the ball there. I love how they always say like what do the analytics say and go with your gut. My gut is just go for it. Try for a deep ball. If you get it, great. If you don't, you don't. But if you get it, you convert it, a big play, you have momentum, and you're literally like right in striking distance to get a touchdown. And now, even if you don't get a touchdown, you can get a closer field goal. And you eat up more time. If you don't get it, the team still gets the ball where it's at. And if you intercept it, guess what? The ball is like down the field. So you're not having the change of downs on like the 50-yard line. You're having change of downs where the ball's on the 10-yard line. Okay? And you need to literally tell Haskins, I'm not going to judge you for this one. I'm not going to give you crap for this one. If you take a shot deep and it gets intercepted, I'm not going to be mad right here. You literally just tell him that in the ear. Hey, take a shot deep. If it's intercepted, it's intercepted. Who cares? That's literally how I would have handled that. I would have probably just gone for it, have one shot or two guys go deep on the edge, and have a crossing route just in case. If the coverage is too deep, is too deep, and they're taking away that deep pass, take the crossing route, take the first down, move the ball the 6 yards or whatever it is, get the first down, move the sticks. If they're playing up on the 6 yards, take that shot deep. Okay, take that shot deep. If he doesn't get it, who cares? You took a shot. Okay, that's how I would have handled it. That's the first thing. Second, when we're 4th and 9 in the red zone, and I mean, first off, Haskins should have took the sack. So it's Haskins' fault. He took the sack. Okay, he does not do that. Just throw the ball in the back of the end zone. Okay, but still, if you get the touchdown there, it's a 2-score game. If you get the field goal there, it's a 2-score game. It doesn't only change the outcome of what you need. You need 2 scores. So take the field goal, your offense move the ball, give them something to hang their hat on, give them something to be proud of, and the game's a little bit closer. So right there is a missed field goal, which, if we do it my way, we have potential to get a touchdown. We get either a touchdown or 0. I mean, it's the same outcome either way. And then we, instead of going for on 4th and 9 from 4th and goal from like the 9, going for the touchdown, just throw the ball or kick the ball up to the uprights, get the 3 points. So right there's some point. I just don't understand the logic behind the play call. When we win the no huddle offense, or whenever we intercepted the ball at the end of the half and went to a hurry up offense, clock management's not very good. Just being honest, clock management is crap. There's tons of things that we can learn from situational football, especially as a young team. And like the last 2 weeks, we haven't used any of the timeouts. This week, kind of the same thing happened. I just don't agree with Ron on the way he's doing these things. Now, maybe he's not in his right state right now. And if that's the case, I'd hate to say, take a step back and let someone else coach a team while you're dealing with your chemotherapy. But Ron, if you can't make decisions that are the most of sound mind and body as a coach, maybe at this moment you should just take a step back and let Jack Del Rio do it. Okay? I understand you have a plan for the future and this stuff, but guess what? I'm gonna be really honest. We can win our fucking division. The best team in our division right now has a win over a team that has one win. And we beat that team 31-17, sacked the quarterback 8 times, forced 3 turnovers. We pecker smacked that fucking team. Okay? And that team's winning the division right now because they tied with the Bengals. The Bengals, who have a rookie quarterback, the team's probably going to go 2-14. I think they're worse than we are. I think they're a better quarterback than we are, but they're worse than we are. And they're just not a good team, and they're winning the division right now. We have opportunity where we could win the division right now, but we're not doing it. We're not making the proper, we're not having the proper attitude. Here's what's happening. You're telling our players that, in the fourth quarter, we're just going to quit. We're going to lay down. We're going to take it like a bitch. We're going to quit, and we're going to get out of games not injured. Okay, so how are players supposed to play now knowing that throughout the course of the game, at any moment, you're just going to hit the quit button, and they're not supposed to try anymore. I mean, they're football players. They're not going to be out there half-assing it because they're going to get themselves injured. That's the first thing. They're not going to half-ass. They're going to get themselves injured. And the second thing is the coaching staff is the same thing. The coaches want to win as well. You have people on your roster, players on the team are not going to get the pass like, well, Redskins were tanking last year, so your stats weren't as good. No, they want to get the best possible stats possible because if they don't, they're not going to get paid. They're going to get cut from this team. They're going to have stuff held against them. It's how the business is. If they have a tank season, so I'll give you an example. Let's say we've been pulling back the reins and after with 5 minutes left in the half, or 5 minutes left in every game that we're losing, and guys stop trying hard. Now they give up more yards, and now Tim Settle is coming up for contract, whatever. Well, you can say well, you're part of a defense last year that really sucked and gave up this many yards. So I don't know if your value is what you think it is. Like it is, or coach was tanking. Well, it doesn't matter. Your stats say this. It's the way it is. The way the NFL is going to use that against people. Now, maybe that's his master plan. Maybe his master plan is he can resign all of his defensive players because eventually John Allen and Daron Payne are going to need, and even Ryan Anderson are going to need to be re-signed in the next year or two. And even Tim Settle. And maybe they just thought, it was like, well, the defensive numbers are bad. I can use that as a leverage to sign them to less money. That's just, I don't know. That's a good way to lose players, in my opinion. But that's a good way to lose a lot of loyalty, in my opinion. I'm not saying that Ron Rivera is a bad coach, but he is showing some inability to manage the clock. And like I said, it could be outside factors that are causing that, not just him, just making bad decisions in general, but it could be other things dictating or causing him to make bad decisions, which I am sympathetic to, but he needs to let someone else do it. That's all there is to it. He needs to let someone else make those calls. Okay? Let someone else manage the clock. Let someone else make decisions on timeouts. Okay? Let someone else do those things. Okay? And I'm just going to be honest. I don't want to hear any conversation about Haskins this week. I don't want to hear a conversation all season. I don't care if putting him in will make us win 2 more games right now. Okay? I don't care. I've seen enough from Haskins to know that we can win with him at quarterback. The things that need to be fixed is our defense has to play better. Our defense needs to keep teams out of the end zone. We haven't forced that many field goals this year. We really haven't. We got like one per game, and the rest are touchdowns. We need to do a better job of forcing teams to kick field goals, force teams to just don't give up easy touchdowns. Don't panic and have adversity, things like that. That's the problem we're having with our team right now. Is the defense has monsters on it, and they make big plays, and they make it so the other team doesn't do things very well. Then all of a sudden they flip a switch and they suck. Okay, to me that's coaching. That's coaching. Something in coaching is basically said when things go south, let them go south. I don't think anyone's being taught that, but that's what it feels like. So, I've pretty much gone on about this entire game, and I could probably talk forever. If I was at my house and I had my Twitter up, I could go over every freaking nook and cranny about this conversation I had. Okay? Let me make it very clear. If this team's going to win, defense has to hold people to under 30. It needs to be about like 21 to 24 points. And our offense is going to get better because our offense is just going to get better by repetition. Offenses right now across the league are doing much better than defenses because I really can't answer that question. Chemistry, teams weren't able to put in more complex schemes, I guess, maybe because of COVID. I don't know, but it's the amount of points being scored right now is very I'd say appalling. Is most points scored consistently. I think it's great because I think it's better for viewership. I think people like seeing points scored. But anyway, so I got an announcement to make. I have a podcast that I've been doing. I'm actually going to change the name of it. It was the Football Lovers Delight podcast, where I actually talk about all football. I talk about every game. I talk about maybe main storyline, stuff like that. But that's like the main gist of what the podcast is about. I do a thing called Pigskin Pick'em, where I'll go through a list of all the games, and I'll pick the winner, who I think's going to win, who I think's going to lose. This week so far, so I'm actually in the top 98th percentile right now. Top 15,000 on ESPN, which there's 63 million people on it right now playing. So in the top 63 million, I'm top 15,000. This week alone, I hit every game right on the money except for two. The Arizona Cardinals, who again, Kyler Murray has done shit since he's played us. And in fantasy, I'm a little irritated because they need to get Kenyon Drake the damn ball. Get Kenyon Drake the ball, Kyler Murray. He needs to get the ball. He had a great year last year. He had a great end of the year. I don't know why you're not getting that man the football. That guy can play. He can score points, and he definitely is good in fantasy. And right now, he's making me look stupid for taking him like one of my higher draft picks. I didn't take him first. I was Alvin Kamara. They're making me look stupid. But I go over. I pick games. I pick who wins and who loses. And the other game I lost was the 49ers and the Eagles. 49ers. If they just got the ball late, they'd have had a chance. If they'd I'm sorry, I got to talk about something. I watched the Eagles game, and stupidly, they decided to go for an onside kick. They had 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. Kick it deep. You're going to hold them at the 25-yard line. They're going to punt the ball, and you could potentially have a return. You had like a minute 40, and if you just kick the ball out the back of the end zone, held them, stopped them on three straight plays, you would have had a better chance to win the game. I think you could have won the game if you'd done that. It was a bad decision. Onside kick was a very bad decision. Just personal opinion. You had 2 timeouts. You had 2 timeouts. You had the not the 2-minute warning. Yeah, 2-minute warning. And I think it was very poorly run by Kyle Shanahan, who doesn't make those kind of mistakes too often, but he made one there. Sorry, ranting about that. But again, my podcast right now is called Football Lovers Delight Podcast, and before I tape my video tonight or tomorrow, I'm probably going to change it to the WTF Pod. What the Football. It's called What the Football Podcast. It's just going to be called the WTF Podcast. What the Football. So I like it. I was working, and someone came in our store, and he was talking football with me, and he's like, yeah, he mentioned something like, and I mentioned something else, and he's like, oh man, you're really into this football stuff, aren't you? Like, yeah, pretty into it. I'm in 4 leagues, and he goes, oh, cool. And I do a podcast too. I'm like, oh, really? What's your podcast? And I told him the name. That's a pretty cool name. And I was like, yeah. I mean, I'm not totally like on board with it. It's okay, but I'm trying to think of a new name for it. He's like, well, you're a Washington team, right? Yeah. It's I was like, why don't you call it something with Washington, like W something? I'm like, well, Washington football team is WFT, so that's already taken. Washington football pod is taken. Football talk, Washington football talk podcast is taken already. And he said, like, well, what about WTF, Washington something? I'm like, what about not to be Washington? How about what the football? It's like, I like that a lot better. So that's how I got its name. So if you want to follow that, it's actually on YouTube. And I've been slacking to this last few weeks, but I try to put it on actual podcast. But I've literally just been putting it on YouTube. I haven't had the time to. It's been a busy couple weeks, but I do recommend listening to it. It's got a lot of insight on fantasy football as well, and I predict every game. And I'm actually really, like, right now I'm just like fucking crushing it, and I'm like really happy about that because I did it last year. And I was really high last year on it, but I didn't actually document it or anything like that. So I'm really excited about this year. So, sorry, I've gone on for 40 minutes about this. I want to thank everyone for watching. Hail to the Redskins. Keep an eye out. I'm going to do a video this week, I promise, about our game, our matchup. I didn't do one last week. Like I said, busy week. I didn't do it week before, wedding weekend. It's been a really busy 2 weeks. I mean, I don't even get a day to myself. I don't get time to myself anymore. That's how crazy it is. I just bought Road Squadrons, and I don't even have time to play it right now. It's insane. But hail to the Redskins. Thanks for watching. See ya.